Oh, Archus, this cube feels terrible. How do I fix this crap? I got you, bro. You don't have to crash out like that. Instead, what you should do is just watch this video. Applies to you guys too, by the way. And learn all about setup and customization. So there are 4 ways you can customize a cube. And if you learn all of them, it will be very easy to customize your cube. So here is the order that you should do them in. Starting with screw depth. So you just pop off the center cap. And if you see a screw in here, then this is it. Sometimes there's just something else with the screw, like this, the blue ring. But if you don't see any screw, then check the instructions that come with the cube. For a screw system, it is right to tighten the screw and left to loosen the screw. So what the screw depth does, it changes how far the pieces can move in a certain space. So if I pull apart these 2 edges, you can see the right side is coming out much more, which means this is looser and it can move more freely. So the main thing that the screw depth affects is the corner twists, corner cutting, and pops. So let's start with corner cutting. So here is a loose side. Okay, bro. Yeah. Never mind. And this is a tight side. That was not supposed to happen. Oh my god. So yeah, you see the difference. So just play around with the settings and see what you like. But generally, looser means better corner cutting. But if your cube is too loose, then it might run into the 2 other issues: corner twists and pops. So corner twists is when this happens when you're solving. And if it's happening too often, after you find the settings you like, so once you're done adjusting and then you do a bunch of solves, if this is happening really often, then you might want to tighten your screw. And same applies for pops. So if it's happening too often, after you find the settings you like and after doing a bunch of solves, tighten the screw. So, like I showed you, you don't want an uneven an uneven tensioning on both sides. You want it to be like this. You want it to be even. So if there is a number system, it is really easy. But if there are screws, like just do what I did, just pull on the edges and you will see the difference. So next is spring compression. You pop up the center cap, and the other thing, the blue ring, is the spring compression. So just so you know, it is not available in every single cube. But if it is generally the thing on the outside, which is the blue ring. But it works differently on every single cube. So you have to read the instructions to be sure. So the springs, and so some people think that springs and screws do the same thing. Well, no, they don't. Screws, they change how far the pieces can move. So as you can see, they're moving outwards. But what a spring does is it opposes the outwards motion. So if there were a spring in here, it would be pulling backwards. And same applies if it's maglev, because there are 2 magnets repelling, which sort of work like a spring. So while adjusting spring compression, you want to keep 2 things in mind. Spring compression changes the flexibility of the cube. So flexibility is how easily you can move the pieces. And if it's a weaker spring, then it will be flexible. But if you have a stronger spring, then the cube will be stable, but it'll also be slower. So just so you know. So again, just find the settings you like. If you like more stable cubes, then you should have a stronger spring compression. But if you like weaker or more flexible cubes, then you have a weaker compression. You can have a weaker spring compression. My English today, bro. So next on our list is nobody saw that. This is my X-Man Tornado, and I will tell you what happened to this at the end of this video. But this is the only cube I have that has the next thing on our list, and that is magnet strength customization. So, magnets, what they do in the cube is that they perfectly align the layers and what they do even better is they hold the layers that you're not holding, which doesn't really affect 3x3 by a lot, but it affects big cubes a lot, and it actually helps while you're solving. So if you're solving and this happened and just like there's a misaligned layer, it's really annoying. So that's what magnets do. So they're generally found on the edges, and if you have a GAN cube or maybe some later cubes, they might be on the corner here. So for the magnet strength, you don't want it too strong or it will take over your turns. So it will be feel a really weird experience and just annoying to your hands. But if you have weaker magnets, really weak magnets, it feels really flimsy and feels like a non-magnetic cube. So set the magnet strength not too strong, but also not too weak. So generally what people do is they put it in on the middle settings to even out the speed and stability. And that is what magnets affect. They affect the speed and stability of the cube, but mainly the stability. And again, some cubes don't have magnet adjustment systems. The next thing is sitting on my table. And no, it is not this really cool Red Bull Formula 1 made out of Lego. It's these guys right here. Oh my god. So the last thing is lubricant. So there are many types of lubricants here. These are all from Speedcube shop. So this one here in the syringe, this is weight 1. It makes your cube faster. And it goes all the way up to weight 6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the bigger the number gets, the slower the lube gets. So what I generally do is take this and put it over here to reduce friction. And these are all the bottled lubes from Speedcube shop. These are not all, there are many more, but for now I have these. So lube affect the speed of the cube. So there are fast and slow lubes. So Lunar makes my cube fast, and Stardust just makes my cube even more fast. Solar does slow the cube down, which I don't really like. I don't really like slow cubes, but if the cube is really, really fast, then this might be worth it. And there is no guide. It just says here 6 drops, break in and enjoy. But the thing with slow lubes is that start out with 1 drop, then 2 drops, then 3 drops, and every drop you put in, just break it in a bit to see how it feels, because it is easier to speed up a cube than slow down a cube. And for the bottled lubes, you can just open it and drip away like this. And like I said, there are a lot more lubes on Speedcube shop, so go check it out, or just Google Speedcube shop lubricant chart on Google, and it will give you all the list of lubricants. So like I said, they change the speed, but they also affect the feel of the cube, and I don't really care about that, but the feel is basically it makes the cube softer, quieter, and just a little more satisfying to turn, which I do like, but I don't really have the specific lube, which you guys are going to figure out. After you find out, please tell me in the comments which lube it is from Speedcube shop's lube chart. Alrighty, time for a quick summary. What you should do. So, start with the screw depth, as that is the main thing. Like I said, it sets your limits on the cube for corner twists, corner pops, and corner cutting. Did I just say corner pops? I just meant pops. Then do the spring compression. If you want a more flexible or more stable cube. Then do the magnetic strength. Again, not too strong, not too weak, or it will be disastrous. And then do the lube on if you want a faster or slower cube. Oh, and I didn't forget about my X-Band Tornado V3. So as you can see, there are little slots in the color plate that goes on top. So the rods just broke off, and I'm like, are we for real?